Hello and welcome to the Subtac Off-Road Live channel. Today we're going to do valve adjustments on the 2018 Can AM Outlander XMR 850. Alright, we got that the heat shield taken off over there. A couple things on this side I want to kind of take loose so I can get out of the way so I can get back in there. One of the main things you want to try to do is make sure you get everything as clean as possible, because you don't want, because once you take those valve covers off, it's going to be open to all kinds of stuff getting in there. So I mean, this doesn't look clean, but I've blown off all the you know, loose stuff, and before I take the covers off, I'll wipe some more stuff down. But you just want to make sure that you're not knocking debris in there once you get the covers off. All right, so first thing I'm going to take off, or at least break loose, is this bracket right here. You see all these hoses and wires and everything zip tied to it. I'm just going to break it loose and pull it out. I'm also going to take the shifter apart right here and just drop this down. And that way, and then I'm going to do something to kind of hold up these hoses back here. And that should give me room to get into all four of the bolts on the valve cover. So, and once we get those off, we'll see what else we need to do. All right, let's get to that. Okay, for here we got a 6mm hex head. For up here we've got a T30 with a 10mm nut on the back. So let's go ahead and break this loose and see what comes. There's a deep ding bolt going down in here. I wonder what else, if that's holding something else together that I don't know about. Nah. That's all it is. So that'll allow me to kind of move it around a little bit. So let's change over to our T30. Also going to take this off because for this plate right here that everything connects to, I went and got me a nice brushed aluminum piece, so I'm going to put that in there. There we go. Yeah, it was giving me a little trouble. Alright, so that just comes right down. And it looks like it might have a little bushing in there. Yep, it sure does. So with them needle nose, I'm just going to reach, kind of pinch on that, pull it out. There we go. So I should now be able to drop this piece off just like that. I'm actually going to get the nut right there from the other side, but from this side I can kind of loosen things and move stuff around a little bit. I might go ahead and grab a zip tie and just kind of hold these up for now. Such a tight fit in there. There we go. Alright, well that was a little harder than it needed to be, but yeah, I got it done. You can either go down the top of it with a T30 or an 8mm wrench. And I'm actually going to do this from the other side. I did all this to kind of move stuff out of the way. Okay, so still about the only way I'm going to get to this is with the 8mm open end wrench. And I actually got one of those ratcheting kinds, so that one in the back I can get to. I'll tell you what, they surely don't give you much room. You start taking a bunch of stuff off. Thing of it is taking it off is the easy part. Trying to put it all back in there is what's going to be fun. You can't even get your fingers. Let me try it from the other side. Alright, I got that out, but it was no easy task, but luckily that's going to be the hardest one to get out, at least for this, for the rear head. I don't know about the front head yet. So I'll get the other ones out and then we'll get into the adjustment. Alright, here comes the fun part, which is seeing if we can get this darn thing off of here without too much of a hassle. I don't know that that's going to be a possibility, but I've got to try. Alright. You know what? I'm going to lay this back on top, and I think I'm going to give myself some room. You'll notice I laid the valve cover back down across there so that anything I do up here doesn't drop any kind of debris into the top of the head. All right. So we got one of those coming out of there. Okay, so there's a hose clamp at the bottom out here. And we'll just loosen that up and get it out of there. Short screwdriver, I guess, is going to be the going to be the ruler here. If I can just get this to break loose. There we go. This took a little bit of thinking. And I can snake it out of there. We'll be in good shape. Okay, so there's some cables zip tied on this other side. So I'm going to snip those zip ties and just hope I remember to put them back up there when it comes time. Yeah, the whole darn scary thing about this is remembering what goes where when it's time to put it all back together. I mean, obviously, it's kind of like a puzzle. You took it apart, you should be able to see what's going on when you put it back together. All right, now I should be able to kind of maneuver that thing loose and at least get it out of the way. I don't know that I'll be able to actually get it out of there, but we'll find out here really quick. Now, won't we? Will I be able to bring it up through here? Just might be able to. There. All right, so that means I can clean that up. All right, so I should be able to clean this up and do the adjustments. Now, let's take a look inside there and see what needs to be done to make the proper adjustments. All right, if you look right here, there's a little tick mark. I'll give you some light back, okay? Little tick mark there. There's another one right across it from it on the wheel behind us. You can't see it because the pipe's in the way. But we've got to rotate that around so that both those tick marks are laying parallel with the top of the head here. And I'll show you how we do that. All right. You'll need a 14mm hex head. It goes in here. This is the plug on the side of the case. You will take this off like so. I really don't need a ratchet on it at this point. Okay, so take that off. We got to turn the motor. We got to turn it clockwise. Inside there's a whole nother place where you can stick that 14mm piece in there, and then you should be able to just turn that motor until you get the top dead center. You can hear everything moving around in there. Now let me go over there and take a look and see where it sits. All right, you should be able to see there. Try to do this without casting a shadow. We've got the two marks parallel with the top of the head. Now, another thing you can check is rockers being a little loose. And I don't know how loose they should be. At top dead center, they really don't seem very loose to me. Those springs aren't supposed to be compressed. Let me see. Okay, so the exhaust side, the gaps have to be 0.006 or 0.152, and they're in millimeters in thousandths of an inch. And that's the gap for the exhaust side, which is back here. Now, you got to go right underneath there, and you want some drag. You want some drag between that spring and the rocker right there, but that's pretty loose. So what I'm going to do, take a 10mm, crack this lock nut loose. There we go. All right, so I cracked that loose. I'm going to put this underneath here. All right. Now I can turn this other one with my finger down until I get some good drag in there. Okay. I'm going to lock that back down just to leave it there. See how it feels. Still feels like it might be a little loose. So I'm going to put that down just a little bit more. All right, so I've got it drag. Getting that feeler gauge in between the that rocker and the valve into the valve, and I'm pushing that little, screwing that little rod down until I get some pretty good drag. I want to see. All right, so I'm going to lock it right there. I've got drag. I don't have to force it in or out. Now, all I do is to tighten that lock nut back up. Okay, I got it locked down, and I'll test it again just to make sure. You feel drag? It's not trying to hold it under there. It's not keeping you from going under there, but you can still feel the drag in it. So that feels pretty good. So you got 2 exhausts and 2 intakes. Remember, the exhausts are 0.006 or 0.152. The intakes are 0.004, 0.102. All right, I've got the valves adjusted, everything tightened back up. It's time to put the valve cover back on. I'm going to clean it up first before I put it back on. I'm going to put a new gasket on it. Got this here Rotax gasket. And if you look, I think, I have to remember where I got it, but I think I got this from Amazon. And I'll give you a link down below if I did. So look down below to see if the link is there. All right, it's done. I got the valve cover back on. I put them sweet new gaskets on there, and I even fired it up. It sounded pretty good on this end. I just got to do the front head now, but I don't need to put that on video because you've already seen the rest of it. I hope you learned something from that. These things are cramped, so getting to them is just a pain. Anyways, I thank you for coming this far. Subscribe if you haven't. Go to my Facebook page or Instagram page, all the same name, Subtac Off-Road Life. Likes, follows, whatever they need. And I'll have stuff down and links down below in the description for all the different things that I put on this if you're interested. And I sure do appreciate it. I will see you later. Bye-bye.